Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about what is Kerberoasting and how to perform this attack. Not only how to perform the attack, but we're going to go ahead and set up an actual account that's Kerberoastable and show you guys how to go about from start to finish. And I want to talk about a few other unattended ways that I've gotten DA in past engagements, right? I have them noted, so we're going to walk through some of those. We might not do them, but I want to walk through just to give some insight on multiple ways to get DA in an Active Directory environment. So if you guys are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Let's get into it and have some fun. Alrighty then, folks. So I just threw this up here really quick just to have something to reference, right? So when you're doing Kerberoasting is an Active Directory attack technique where an attacker requests a Kerberos service ticket from accounts that have a service principal name, SPN, and then tries to crack those tickets offline to see if you can recover the account passwords. So there's so much more to it, but in this example, I'm just going to go ahead and go about that. So I'm doing this video because recently on an engagement, I was able to get a Kerberoastable account through a Veeam account. Veeam is a backup application. A lot of people get this through like maybe a SQL Server or an IIS application or whatever, custom applications, whatever, right? As long as you have an SPN, you're cooking. But right now, we're going to go ahead and just set up an account and yeah, just go through it, right? I already have an account that I set up recently just to test, and I set up a backup service account. So I try to mock the same exact account that I did find in the wild. So I want to go ahead and walk you through it, and just in case you don't know how to set up this kind of account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm just going to go ahead and copy this backup service account. And I'm just going to go ahead and make this, I don't know, SQL service. I'm just going to put that SQL, and service. And then the logon is just going to be SQL service, right? I like to do the whole thing. And I'm going to make the password super simple. I'm not going to make it too difficult. I'm just going to say password 123 bang, right? So password 123 bang. Okay, this is not proper, but password never expires. That's fine for me. And go ahead and do that. So I want to go ahead and just make a note of this so I don't forget. Password 123 bang. That's the user information, right? So the user information is right here for the specific account. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, we can go ahead and run PowerShell scripts and all that stuff, but I'm going to see if it actually, all right, there is one thing. So if I go ahead and right click on go to properties of this account, we can see attribute editor. And if we come down here, we can go ahead and just do service principal name, and we don't have any value. So let me show you on my backup service account. And if you do not have this option here, let me just go here, and I'm going to show you this account. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and show you how to actually do that. So let's cancel this. So in view, if you don't view in details and advanced features, you don't see it. So let's go back here for an example. Let's go back to backup, because I may get this in the comments, like I don't see the account or I don't see the properties. So here we don't have the attribute editor. So we have to make sure we view this in advanced features. Okay. Just something to check out. All right. So let's go back to backup service and let's go ahead and copy, or go to properties, go to attribute editor, service principal name. And then this is the account value, right? And this is the port number that it's sitting on, right? So we can change that port number, and we're going to change that port number for the next account, right? So we have the user account /DC, which is the server host name. isp.local is my domain. Okay, just so I don't forget, I'm going to take a screenshot of this because I will probably forget, and I'm just going to throw this off to the side for now, and we can come back to that later. This is just getting everything prepped so it's Kerberoastable, right? So obviously, if you're in an environment, you're doing a pen test, this is probably already set up. But if you need to set this up in your lab in order for you to perform this attack, this is how you do it, right? I want to show you that preliminary step. Okay, so let's go back to that SQL account. Let's go ahead and double click on it. And let's go ahead and do service account. Service principal name, and here the service principal name is going to be SQL service, and then it's going to be /DC-ISP.local. Okay, so that's that, and we can go ahead and hit OK. Oh, actually, we can go ahead and add, but I want to show you how to do it also inside of the command shell. All right, so let's go ahead and apply that, and let's hit OK for now. And now what we can do here is set SPN /S, and then the actual account name, and then the port, which we're going to change this port to like 1434, something like that, and backup service. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just copy this, and I want to go ahead and paste that here. Whoops. Right, so instead of backup service, I'm going to put SQL service, and then instead of that, I'm going to put not .4, just 1434, and then the service account is going to be SQL service. Okay, SQL service. Okay. Now the object was updated. Okay, so now what we can do is see if that is actually there. We can verify that. But what we can do, see, like I did right up here, I just ran this command and then it added. And then what we can do is make sure it's registered. So I'm just going to go ahead and just copy this. I'm just going to just so I'm lazy, and then paste it. And then -L SQL service. All right, so there it is. Now if we go back into AD really quick, we can double click this and see service principal name, and then we have this here. Okay, so we should be good. The next thing we can do is, it's verified. We have all that. So now what we can do is see if this is Kerberoastable. So now we can actually go onto the domain controller and see what's up. Okay, and then we'll go over some unattended ways to get DA and how you can actually check that out. So let's go over to our Kali machine. All right, so this was our previous, right? So in order to do this, you need to have a username and password, right? So this is from the previous one, right? So this is the previous hash. So what we can do now is see if we have multiple, right? And then we can see if we can get that hash and try to crack it. And we'll do that whole thing now. Okay, so we'll go up arrow and we'll do the same thing. And now what this is doing, let me make this a little larger. This is saying you already compromised a user account, or maybe you have assumed breach scenario in your internal pen test, right? So let me see if I remember my password. I think that's it. Okay, perfect. So now you can see, wow, that's a little bigger than let's go ahead and do that one more time. And let me put my fancy password. Okay, so now we can see SQL. And if we come up here, you can see both accounts that are Kerberoastable, right? So if you see this on an engagement, you're in business, right? So now what we can do, you can copy both of them. But since we are not focused on this backup service account, we can go ahead and just copy this account right here. Okay. And then we can try to crack it, right? We can do, let me see if I have rocku.txt. Okay, so it's right here. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I don't want to. So let's do hashcat. So now we should be in action. All right, so now it's going to go ahead and crack it and see what's the password. The password is, I believe, password 123 bang. So we should be able to crack that. And then if you crack it, then you have the way to authenticate to that machine. So we'll give this a minute and see what's up. All right, so here we are. We got the password right here, password 123 exclamation. So that was actually able to crack. Okay, so now with those username and password we have for that service account, for an example, now we can actually take those credentials and authenticate and go move laterally through the network. So now I want to go ahead and go over some other unattended ways that I've got DA. So let's jump into that. All right, so let me go ahead and just fix everything. So some other ways to get initial access is, there's so many other ways, but I want to talk about unattended or whatever kind of ways. I can't think right now, but some scenarios that I've done, and this is just from my notes in the past, is unattended installation files, right? So when you have like an unattended installation file, what do you actually look for? These are things, I talked about this on a previous podcast, like knowing your system admin stuff, Windows stuff is really, really important, especially when you're trying to get credentials. You can look at stuff like unattended.xml, right? These kind of files may have credentials. Sysprep, when you're sysprepping to try to deploy a new application, a new operating system, maybe you have content in those scripts that contain the credentials, right? So for an example, a possible path or a possible way to do that is maybe if you get the user, then you can, see if those credentials are exposed within that deployment center, SSCM, SCOM, etc. And then you can go ahead and privest to that DA account. Other ways that I've done it is through deployment shares, MDT, WDS, Windows Deployment Services, SSCM, SCOM, whatever, shares, scripts, task sequences, configuration files, so many things. These are all things that I look for outside of the traditional, credentials, right? Like Kerberoasting and ASREP roasting and, listening for your responder for some hashes. But if it's a assumed breach, these are things I go, if it's an older server, maybe 2008, I've seen these, and this is why I still have this down, is GPP, group policy preferences, and old sysvol secrets, right? Legacy files still exist in the world today, right? So these are things that you can look into. Scripts, passwords left in sysvol. These are all things that I've seen in the wild, right? The typical password reuse, local admin passwords reuse across workstations, servers, printers, etc. And, service accounts exposure, just like I said, Kerberoastable accounts with weak passwords, just like I just cracked with this service or SQL service account. Overprivileged service accounts as well, backups, like I said, Veeam, monitoring stuff, maybe something like a network monitoring tool like Nagios, so Cacti or what is the other one? SolarWinds, all these things, like different kind of deployments, SQL servers, VMware, SCCM accounts, and then, the other stuff that maybe you've seen on some certifications, like misconfigured ACLs, generic all, generic write, generic decal, write owner, reset password rights. All these different things can lead from a local privileged user to modifying those privileged accounts to, escalate those permissions. Delegation problems, ADCS, obviously dangerous certificate templates and enrollment configurations. These are all things that I look for, right? The list goes on: virtualization, infrastructure, backup infrastructure, PKI, DNS, identity infrastructure. And like I said, the list goes on, but these are some critical things that you can look for. But if there's something that I missed that you may have found on an engagement, please leave it in the comments. I'm super interested in learning. So thank you so much for checking this out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you guys.